everybody? It's been a while. What's going on, chat? Mwah. It's great to see you guys. And not a whole heck of a lot going on at the moment. And I've missed you guys, so I was like, hey, let's talk about some stuff. Let's hang out. It's been a hot minute because life has been lifing very hard. Um, I was like, I wonder if I still remember how to do this. On the positive note, I still remember to hit the go live button twice. And I remember to turn my mic on. So far we're 2 for 2. Can't complain, right? Right? What is going on? Arcasul, how's it going? Hello, hello. Charlie Stevenson, what is up? Blackest Night. Very well. Green Lantern. Legionist, what are you doing? And of course, Adiga Outlaw. How are you? How are you? So, a whole bunch of stuff going on in a whole bunch of places. It's really crazy to think about in just like 3.5 years ago. Um, we were literally a large portion of the world was confined in the house. And it was, I mean, there was a captive audience to be had. It's crazy to think about, quite honestly. But we're going to talk a little bit about how that changed escapism. Cal G, what's going on? Soul Assassin. And my husband is in the chat. Hello, Lord Gravemaster. What's good? Are you not a wrench? Oops, I'm a bad wife. Let me fix it. There. You have a wrench now. See, I can multitask, kind of, sort of. I'm told that women are supposed to be able to do those things, so I'm gonna say that I can do them, right? Well, it's just me tonight. I have no co-hosts because again, this was like hyper impromptu. But there is something that all of us have kind of noticed, but a lot of people don't seem to, I don't know if vocalize is the right word. Maybe that's the closest to what I'm trying to get at, but it would seem that there were two very different mentalities going on and have emerged from specifically the coof and everything that we had to do. So without further ado, because they're a source of true wisdom and, I don't know, objective opinion, we're going to read an article from the BBC, ladies and folks, and not the real BBC that Az and Gary host, like the corporate BBC across the pond over there in the UK. Now, I need you guys to just prepare yourselves because why escapism benefits from a dose of pandemic reality. If you think that title is laughable, just wait till I get to this subtitle below this picture. I almost could not breathe. Honest to God. Like, it's not good. TV, cakes, art, and even prawn. When recreation is supposed to be an escape, why are we voluntarily looking to stay connected to what stresses us the most? Yep, that's right. That's right. 100%. I can't believe they put that in this is a real BBC article, guys. Like this is a completely misleading title because it makes it sound like, oh, you want to put pandemic reality into escapism. Nope, not exactly. But you wouldn't know that. And when you read that subtitle, um, it's crazy. I got plenty of mandarins. Maza, you dog, what are you doing? I miss you. We need to hang out soon. And we need to play some games. But like actually play, not just like goof around and, you know, let let lethal just kill us. Like, we need to actually play. I miss you. I miss your face. Heinous as it is. Eric, what's going on? My day was a Monday. It was a Monday of a Monday. And life is going. Lots going on. I'll probably talk about that a little bit because it's relevant to escapism and why I love it so much and why it's so necessary. And the personal reason for that too. Oh, Maza, hugs. I miss you. You're in a snowfall warning? Dude, it was 88 degrees here today. There's 8 days left in the, not even. There's 7 days and 3 hours and 9 minutes left in the month of October, and it is 88 degrees. It is uncalled for and unnecessary. Like, oh my gosh. Oh, hey, what's going on? Get in, nerds. Hey, if you got to catch up tomorrow, that's totally fine. You are not obligated to be here, but I appreciate you stopping by and dropping some love in the comments. Thank you, get in, nerds. Mwah. You sleep good. Have a good one. Subhuman, what is going on? Oi, oi, how's your drive going? So we've had this up for a minute. I just realized this must be very tiny for you guys because it's kind of even a little bit small for me. But I had to make that other word. I had to make the prawn word very tiny because I have a feeling I'll get nailed for that. So Italy, Turkey, and Switzerland. This is literally identified a trend of coronavirus themed prawn. Searches have surged since the onset of the pandemic, especially in nations with intense stay at home orders. So, like, what? What? I don't know who wrote this article, but I guarantee you they didn't do a great face. And then, so we go from prawn to, like Grey's Anatomy, which, maybe not so much of a jump there. But like I have no idea. I don't watch Grey's Anatomy. Please don't hate me, girls. I know my my sister, my mom, my aunts. I've got female cousins. Like, they're all co-workers. Oh my gosh, Grey's Anatomy is just the best thing. And I'm over here like, man, I don't know. I like ER. I watch the ER reruns, so it is what it is. But so the prawn is one example of how we're choosing to let reality seep into modes of entertainment that we usually use to escape. In the past several months, TV shows like Grey's Anatomy, Shameless, and South Park have woven in coof into their storylines. Even the upcoming Sex and the City reboot will purportedly tackle the the 2020s. I should just say 2020, right? 2019 to 2020. Similarly, new big budget movies are dedicating their entire premise to the horrors of contagion, while world famous restaurants are excuse me, are offering up cakes with coof spike proteins as decorations. Insanity. As if we didn't get enough COVID-19 in our, oh, I said it, COVID-19 in our real lives, we're now confronted with it in recreation too. Exactly. So here's the point. This is like, it's so funny to me that this came from the BBC, because when it comes to the pandemic, they're all like, oh, it's bad, it's too much, we need to escape from this. But when it comes to everything else, they are championing it. They're like, no, we need diversity and representation and inclusion, and we need to race swap and gender swap these characters that have long-standing histories in the IPs and have all of this backstory and all of this relevance and this entire origin. Yeah, screw all of that because modern audience. But apparently having goof themed prawn, that's a bridge too far. That was a bridge too far. Goodness gracious, gravy almighty, holy bejesus. And although people have plenty of alternative entertainment options, not really. Like, if you were in Cali, like you Hulu was your lifeline. I am not even kidding you. I've got buddies that are still out there and they were like, we can't go anywhere. Like, we order food. They order like Amazon to bring different like drinks and stuff for grocery wise. So they order takeout, they order groceries, and they watch shows. That's all they could do because if they went out, there was just it was insane. Like, it was crazy on the streets. You'd get stalked or harassed by police. The same police that, can't can't lock up the homeless man who's defecating in the middle of the road and shouting obscenities while his pecker's swinging out with 4-year-olds in the car as it drives by. But by God, if you went out in California without a mask, they tackled you on the beach if you were the only one. It was insane. And they were like, "Yeah, there's no way. Like, there's no way we could go out unless it's for official like work or military related purposes. That's it. Or if it was like an emergency, like you cut your finger off or something. Like, literally a limb had to be at risk." No, pecker, hail the lore. Pecker with a CK. They're still called that, right? I don't know. I don't know the lingo. Yes, Grandma Slayer, Southeastern Kaiju, exactly. We can spread needles all over the road and defecate in front of children with our privates dangling out, but God forbid you be the only person on on the beach, not another soul in sight for 10 miles. Good lord. Ridiculous. So, although people have plenty of alternative entertainment options that having nothing to do with the pandemic, some of us are opting in to merging daily life with the modes we use to escape it. You know what that's called? That's called masochism. I am now convinced that all of these intersectional feminists, they're just a bunch of masochists. That's where I'm landing. Because why? How could you live in such misery every single day unless you loved it? Like, that's the only thing I can come up with, quite frankly, at this point. Really, truly. Like, what? Why? Why would you? Why does it have to be in everything? Like, stories can literally just be about, they don't even have to be fables or what is it called? See, now I can't think. Is it fables where they have a lesson at the end, like The Boy Who Cried Wolf? Is that how that works? Are those called see, my brain shut off. I can't even think anymore. But remember you just like, hey, so what's the lesson from The Boy Who Cried Wolf? Oh, don't lie, because when you actually need help, people aren't coming. They all look miserable. Look at the derision and just She's like, nah. Oh my gosh. Does she know she has a mirror back there? Everybody. So it looks like the meeting is only taking up like half her screen. What's she watching down here? I wonder what that's all about. But they all look she just looks mean. Look at that. Look at that. I've seen less broad jaws on like boxers, professional boxers. Insane. I don't know what this look is. She looks confused and shocked and also bored at the same time. I didn't know you could do that. I don't know what this is. I don't know. PD Emily Lopez. So, like, is she trying to go for like the sexy smolder open jacket look? Because her hair looks greasy AF from this angle. Like, obviously, she's just got dark roots and it's grown out and she hasn't gotten it touched up because it's the pandemic and she can't go to her hairdresser. Oh my gosh. So, side note, I need to have a stream with Agent Bossy Boots if she ever would love to come on. I know she's insanely busy, but we need to talk about the underground hairstylist project that happened during the pandemic because, oh my gosh, it's insane to me. Like, thousands upon thousands of dollars to get these hairstylists to come to homes to do their hair. That's because like these women were desperate. But Agent Bossy Boots has some like insane stories to talk about it for sure. Um, and then we've got our white male down here being a power bottom, apparently. And he has some freakishly well groomed eyebrows that are still somehow bushy at the same time. It's very confusing. It makes me uncomfortable to look at. Why has he got the side sweep going? Also, what's with this? Do we notice that he's the only one that doesn't have, like, first of all, that light, one of these light bulbs is burnt out. So now it's uneven and it bothers me. But also, it's just white. Like, she's got some gray to break it up and also the mean mug of a face. And she's wearing, green. She's got a color on. What is happening here? This is like a psychopath on Zoom. That's what this is. This is a Zoom psychopath. Like, he's letting you know, this must be like his clean room. He's just that confident that he'll never be caught by the rest of these lawyers. Like, it's just, what is this? The seal of the great state of California. What legal drama is this? All Rise. Never heard of it. But these people look miserable and just, again, I am uncomfortable with his background. Like, put a plant or something. Like, it's literally, and a light bulb is burnt out. That is really just bugging the ever loving bejesus out of me. I have problems with that for sure, for real. I am so. This makes me so uncomfortable. He's the villain, guys. I'm telling you right now, he's the villain. Not even because he's a white male. It's because of his Zoom background. Hey, hello, beautiful. Welcome. I've missed you. All right, moving on. That was a fun little segue, right? Little detour. So, if the seemingly obvious way to unwind involves distancing ourselves from the things that stress us most, are we working against our best interest by inviting potential stressors into our downtime? Yes. Like, I don't understand why this is a question. Yes. That's stupid. Like, if if you want to get away from the stuff that stresses you, why would you put it in the stuff that you are doing or watching to get away from the stuff that stresses you? Like, quite frankly, the putting in pandemic stuff doesn't bother me, but I am really getting sick of being preached to about intersectional feminism and patriarchy and all that BS. I'm done with it. Like, for the love of all, just let it rest, yo. You guys are masochists. Why are we choosing to keep connecting with our uncomfortable realities even when we have the clear option not to? Because you won't let us get away from it? Like, you say there were a ton more options, but we all know that there is an algorithm. We all know that it pushes certain things that it is instructed to push. And it pushed all of those things. Like, people had to actively go out and search for other things. And they finally had the time to do it. And they finally realized how much crap filled mainstream shows that get all of the budget and all of the marketing. And they're like, this is actually a crap show. Like, yeah, no kidding. It was never good. You just didn't have the time because, like, people work. Like, we have jobs, we have lives, we have families. Like, you sit down and you turn on your TV. If you have, freaking like cable or whatever. If you have a satellite package, whatever's on is whatever's on, unless you've TiVoed something, right? Otherwise, if you have, whether it's YouTube, Hulu, Netflix, like whatever it is, you're limited to what's on what's on those streaming services, and they're going to push the things that they want pushed. And because, like, I have seen on like Amazon Prime, it'll be like, oh, something we think you'll like, and it's not even in the realm of something that interests me, but it pushes an agenda, and therefore it's getting getting the push for you to try and watch it. And I'm like, dude, I'm about done with this. For real. Faye, I am reading an article from the BBC back in 2020 when they were like, hey, maybe we shouldn't push reality into our escapism, but only with the pandemic stuff, specifically prawn. I don't know why they're bringing that crap up. but it's in there several times. I'm telling you, whoever the uh yeah, see? I don't know who wrote it. Whoever wrote this, there's no way they did it. Here we go. Allie Volp. Yeah, no way she wrote this with a straight face. None whatsoever. But that's what we're checking out right now, Faye. Um, yes, Tubi is a cool site. But that's what I'm saying. Like all of these things have algorithms, but they also can be easily manipulated. And so the fact that A Bridge Too Far was pandemic items in your whatever, um, sometimes here's the thing. A lot of people went through grief when it came to the lock-ins, the shutdowns. People lost their jobs, people lost family, people lost friends. Like it's insane the amount of depression and grief that was happening, and nobody talks about that on how it was such a large scale. It was a massive scale of just depression and loneliness and misery and grief. And so sometimes what they're failing to realize is kind of like when you write um so if you look at country music, um very much like a lot of on brand songs, um so and so cheated, so and so lied, so and so died, whatever the case may be, or you spilled your beer. But you write about it, you write a song about it to help you cope, to help you get over it, right? So it is entirely possible that some of these escapist routes were used as a coping mechanism. Um, but that doesn't happen when it gets weaponized. So instead of it being a means of coping, it now seeded its way into the mainstream and became a pressure point or a cat um I mean, really, it's political. It's not even really it's really political. Other political messages or other agendas to get woven into stuff, whether it be like they became focal points. So I've brought this up before in other streams. There is a term called distancing. Now, yes, that is a word. It's so funny that we're bringing it up. Not the social distancing, but in psychology, it's called distancing. And essentially, what it means is you, as a person, you choose your focal point and then you base your every action or inaction off that focal point. And so it's the classic like I don't want to turn out like my mother, I don't want to turn out like my father. And so you ultimately like um you go to a different school, or you don't go to school if they graduated from college, or you choose a completely different major, or you choose a completely different career, but essentially you're still giving that focal point control over your life. Like you are allowing that point that you yourself have selected to shape who you become. And in the end, you end up becoming the very thing you were trying to avoid. And so it's just crazy when you think about it. Um and so you've got you've got these pandemic songs, you've got these sketches, you've got comedy, you've got stories, you've got fanfic, like there's shows about like indie shows. But the problem comes in mainstream got a hold of it and they weaponized the bejesus out of it and they used it as an insertion point for other agenda. And now it suddenly became, well, if if you're against if you're against this, then you're against, you know, the innocent lives. You're the reason that grandma's in the hospital. You're the reason that grandma's on the vent. You're the reason grandma died. You're the reason that that 4-year-old is sick, even though when all the research was done, kids were like basically immune to this thing. I mean, it's the the statistics, like they're virtually null because of how small uh it was when it came to kids. And so a lot of these things probably started out as a way to cope and not to be pushed as any kind of agenda, not to be pushed as any kind of, messaging, shoving a message out there. But once again, corporatism came in and corrupted the crap out of it. It weaponized it and it used it and it pushed all of these messages and all of this agenda. And it it really did become very, very telling very quickly who was what and where people stood. Because if you were like, I used to watch that show, but I don't really like it anymore. And they're like, what do you mean you don't like it anymore? Why don't you like it anymore? Is it because they did such and such, or they introduced so and so character? And it's like, well, I grew up with it and it used to be this, and now it's morphed into something else. It didn't grow. It's like overnight, literally overnight, it's like someone decapitated it and sewed a new head on it and tried to convince me that it's still the same thing. They Frankenstein monstered it, and then they tried to tell me that I was the one with the problem. So you read, as we go through this article a little bit more, they can't seem, the BBC of all places, can't seem to realize that escapism should be like, it should be pure as much as possible from reality seeping into it, because you're trying to, for a brief amount of time, escape whatever that reality is, however hard it may be. And that's why it's when they bring up how, oh well, it's a code for, um it's coded racism, or it's coded sexism, or it's this or it's that. It said, no, it's just escapism. You are bringing in your baggage, you're projecting your baggage into this area, and you're destroying this IP, you're destroying this escapist avenue, because you don't know how to deal with your own stuff, and you don't know how to let go. You don't know how to handle this stuff. And so when you try to bring that up, it said, no, you're just hateful. You don't see, like, it's your privilege. You're blind. You're whatever. And no matter how much you constantly try to um, reiterate the fact that it has nothing to do with that, it has nothing to do with, real people or real places or anything like that. All you want to do is go into a world where there's objective good, objective bad, and pick your side and go for it. Literally, like, if you want to be the hero that slays all the demons and stands on the hill and with the beautiful princess at his side, that's great. If you want to be the dark overlord who is just slaying bodies so that he can rule the world, I mean, that's also great, because maybe that's something that, you're like, I could never do it in real life. What would it be, what would it be like? How would it play out? What would it look like? Who knows why you're doing it? Maybe it's maybe it's just fun to kill NPCs. I don't know. Um, whatever your motivation is. That's why Fable is one of my favorite games, because your actions legitimately affect the outcome of that game. And how you and it reflects on your physical appearance and your skills and your weapons and your armor, like all of these things, your interactions, your relationships, where you go, what, like, who your allies are. All of these things are affected in Fable, and I absolutely love that so much, um because you really get to see, long-term and short-term consequences in action with that game. It's fan-freaking-tastic. And, you know, I think one of the things, the reason that Lord of the Rings is so uplifting is because they go through so much. They go through so much in Lord of the Rings, and then they're triumphant at the end. And you have that sense of victory and relief and camaraderie and love, and it's something that, not I mean, I don't know about you, I'm pretty sure I am never going to be cast on a quest with 3 friends from my hometown with a weapon of mass destruction, and then take it across the entire earth and destroy it before it destroys everybody else. I mean, that just doesn't sound like something I'm ever going to get to do, but it's how incredible of a story is it, and how amazing is it to be able to go on this adventure with these characters and really just immerse yourself in that escapism for however long or short it may be, whether it's the books or the films. And it's just it's so incredible what that amount of escapism can do, what it can do for your soul, how it can lift you. Gary at Nerdrotics has talked about this a few times. Classic Star Trek and TNG, I think, were rated the highest, but Star Trek legitimately helps with depression. It helps overcome depression. It's like they have actual studies on this, and it just shows you how powerful the mind is and how desperate it needs that relief. Like your brain needs a break too. Your soul needs a break. You have to. You can't. If you could never escape the dredge of reality ever, you would go insane. Likewise, you can't live in escapism 24/7 because that is equally as crazy, but it's about having a balance. And so when you don't take care of yourself that way, when you don't admit that you need that, you have serious issues going on and they're just going to get compounded. Um so it's just right here. Here we go. Validation. People consume media for many reasons, but significant among them is relatability. I hate that word so much because it's been bastardized. You should be able to relate to whomever. Like you really should. But now relatability has become synonymous with allegory. Not applicability, allegory. And ugh, it's just a problem on so many levels because so many people cannot they can't detach from themselves to just enjoy. They have to actively seek they have to actively seek um that constant misery. I don't know. Like that's like again, I am convinced that they're masochists. Um but it's just oh, it makes me so angry. The fact that now oh, if you're not a straight white male, you can't relate to Han Solo. Like what from the original trilogy? Like and then oh gosh, that stupid what's her name? Jennifer Lawrence when she was like, "Yeah, girls can relate to boys, but boys can't relate to girls." Um I would really like to point out that I am a millennial. I am a younger millennial. And I am telling you right now, the most people that quote that stupid movie Mean Girls are dudes. Oh my gosh, that is so fetch. We wear pink on Wednesdays or whatever it is. I don't even know. We wear pink on Wednesdays. Um oh, what's the other one? I don't like I can't even think. But like literally the limit does not exist. I loathe those lines so freaking much. I hate it so badly. But like my guy friends, they think it's freaking hilarious. October the 3rd. And I'm like, don't care. I really don't. And they're like, you're just not fetch. And then I'm like, please stop saying that. And then one of them will inevitably go, yeah, fetch is not a thing. It's not going to happen. Stop trying to make it happen. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to get away from all of you for 20 seconds because you're all insane. Um, but yeah, like for whatever reason, dudes love Mean Girls. Like they love to quote it. They love to laugh at it. I don't know what I don't know. I didn't think it was that good of a show. I really didn't. Um, yeah, I don't know. Um, I guess it was I guess it was fine, but um, I'd much rather watch like Without a Paddle or something like that. But so I know for a fact that girls can relate to guys and guys can relate to girls. Like, even if it's solely on a warped sense of humor line, they 100%, um, they 100% can relate to females. So I have a real problem with that lie getting pushed. I really do. Um, Also, probably the best Batman movie ever made, and I've heard so many guys say this, is Mask of the Phantasm. And when it gets revealed that, okay, spoiler alert, when it gets revealed that she is a fan, nobody lost their mind. Nobody was just like, oh my gosh, woke, intersectionalism. No, because it makes sense. You understand how it's possible, why she's, what her motivations are, what the whole payoff is. It all makes sense because that was good writing and great animation. Great animation, great writing, fantastic story. If you guys have not seen Mask of the Phantasm, I strongly recommend it. Um, Probably my second favorite Batman movie ever. Um, but I digress. There's there is no reason why these lies should be allowed to continue because it's awful. They're awful. Um, People often want to see their experiences and themselves reflected in what they're watching, reading, or doing. You can tell a chick wrote this article because um, I can tell you right now, if my husband has to choose between watching a show about his daily work or watching, I don't know, 300, he's going to pick 300. He's going to pick 300. I mean, last I checked, yes, we were Marines, but I am almost positive that I can speak for my husband and say he never ran around in basically leather leather underwear, topless with a cape and some, some like, let's be real, that armor was like, what was the point, honestly? I mean, their shields, yes, but like really, um, but like their help, like I don't think my husband has ever held a spear with 299 other men and held off an invading Persian army. Call me crazy. I could be wrong, but I can almost guarantee that he's never done that. And so if he's got to choose between watching a show about his day or a movie about like his daily life or, you know, showing up and saving Frodo from the forces of darkness, probably gonna forces of darkness. Um, what's another one? I'm trying to think. My brain has 007. Oh my gosh, James Bond. Last I checked, my husband is not an international super spy. But I mean, I'd rather watch a Bond movie. I'd rather watch all those movies too. I don't want to. I don't want to watch a show about teachers all day. About just like the daily life of a teacher. Like, just hey, this is the daily life of a teacher. Okay, cool. I live it. I don't want. I don't want to see that. I want to watch a princess who's, loyal to her kingdom and her king or her prince and does her best to be an asset and not a drama queen who's hell bent on revenge or some nonsense like that. Or, is girl bossing. We do like to see characters that are going through the same thing we're going through. No, I do not. No, I don't. No, not even a little bit. I want to see characters go through things that I will never be able to go through, like coronations or assassinations or ninjas. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, probably my favorite superhero, like, film, 1990 TMNT. To this day, like, it is the best. I love it so much. It was perfectly cast. The costuming, the writing, it's a solid Wonderful film. At no point have I ever been a reporter or a vigilante with a hockey mask going through the streets, nor have I been a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I've studied hand to hand and whatnot, but like, nope, have most definitely not gone about and the streets of New York and cleaned it up. Though somebody needs to. Boy, do we need the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now more than ever. Holy cow. Um, I don't live in New York, but my uncle, he made the comment. He's like, I thought New York was bad in the 80s. He's he's like 70s to 80s New York. He goes, was not 90s New York. And I was like, oh, and he goes, I'm telling you right now, modern New York makes the 80s and 90s uh look weak. I was like, "Oh, well that's terrifying." Um for like many purposes or many reasons. But yeah, it's just crazy. But no, now we have girl bosses crossing their arms and staring at each other and not saying anything because now women are supposed to be stoic or some crash trash like that. And we have dudes sitting around a campfire or a table or in a hallway crying their eyes out and being indecisive and being little pansy ass. I mean, um, babies. I caught myself. Um, so yeah, here we go. Are we ready for this? So, seeking out activities that validate our feelings or reflect our experiences isn't just a pandemic induced phenomenon. No, it's not. But also, um, that's not escapism. That's validation. They're two different things. So stop trying to make them synonyms. They're not. It makes me very angry. Um, like they try to justify with think of listening to sad music following a breakup, for instance. No, see what that is if the breakup was like not initiated by you, if you didn't want the breakup, um, you're not looking for validation of your feelings. You're sad. And so you don't want to listen to happy things because the happy things make you think of the happy times you had with the other person. And that makes you sadder because now they're not there anymore. And so you just want to be sad. You're not validating your feelings. You just want to be sad without being reminded of the happy so that you can work through it. There is a difference there. Like 100%. If you Though I know a lot of girls, if they want to get their feelings validated after a breakup, they'll call up their best friend and be like, I need you to come right now and tell me that it's him, not me, and that I'm not worthless or what I say. Look, relationships end if you don't work on them. So, did you actually work on them? My girlfriends do not call me for relationship advice. Like, and I'm not even as mean as my husband. And he's not even mean. He's just honest. Um, He's just he's literally I don't he's logical and honest. Like that's really legitimately all he does. Like I'll sit there and I'll be like, "Did you work on the relationship?" Because texting each other, like 3 or 4 times a day and sending one selfie while you're uploading 1,000 things to Snapchat or Instagram, I wouldn't call that working on your relationship. Oh, well, I wanted to give him his space. I didn't want to be overbearing. I didn't want to be clingy. Um, I don't think, having a meal or watching a movie with your boyfriend or girlfriend is considered clingy or overbearing. If your boyfriend or girlfriend doesn't want to hang out with you, then maybe like I think they're actually trying to tell you that yeah, we should break up because like if you can't spend time with the person because dating is supposed to be with the intention of marriage, like why you would date someone who you don't see at least the potential of a future through marriage with, I don't know why you would even waste your time. Um, but people do it. It's bizarre to me, but they do it. And then it's the same thing of, oh, well, I wasn't satisfied, or he was just until he was Mr. Right now, not Mr. Right. And I'm just waiting for Mr. Right. It's like, dude, work on yourself a little bit, Chica. And then maybe you'll actually be able to hold on to a guy and you won't be having these, self-pity sessions. I I don't get it at all. But when honest to God, I had this girlfriend, we don't talk anymore. Um, it was like her 7th boyfriend in a year, within a year. She never dated a guy for more than, like, 6 weeks, 8 tops. And she's like, "Well, like, the spark is gone, the magic is gone, the excitement is gone." And I was like, "Did you try? Like, did you at any point put any effort in besides, 'Hey, pick me up,' or 'Hey, drop me off?'" And then when he didn't drop everything and come running, you were like, "Oh my gosh, he doesn't love me. He has no time for me. He's so toxic." I was like, "No. No, no. No. That's that's a you problem, honey." Like, I don't know, maybe slow down and actually think about what it is you want in a boyfriend, potential husband, and go looking for that. I I I fail to see why him not leaving his job in the middle of the day to come take you shopping is worthy of being dumped. Well, if he really loves me, he would chase me. Well, how are he gonna pay for your shopping spree if he doesn't have a job? For one. And for two, um, what's your definition of chase? Like, I'm really confused because, like, the whole idea, like, what is it you're trying to have him chase? Is it you? Because if it is, then you need to dare definitely work on yourself, like, a lot. I don't it I'm so glad I'm married. Like, oof. If he ever dies, I will drag him back from the depths of hell, or heaven, hell, and make sure he doesn't go anywhere for a very long time because ain't no way, no way I would ever just, ugh, I'm no way. That's all I can say, quite frankly. Um, but yeah, I'm just like, I was like, listen, I the reason she doesn't talk to me anymore, um, because the conversation went on for a long time. I won't bore y'all with all the details, but, and I know I've already dragged this out. She was like, "He should be willing to die for me." And I looked at her and I was like, "Listen, if you want a man who's willing to die for you, you need to be a woman worth dying for, and you're not." We've not spoken since. Meh. It's true though. Like, I hope you're worth dying for. If you were expecting men to die for you, I hope you are worth their death. Like, quite frankly, there's very few, like, very, very few people in this world, very few people, um, who I would legitimately take a bullet for. Maybe like half a dozen. 4 of them are my kids, and one of them is my husband. So that leaves maybe one other person in this world. I guess mama, like, okay, so maybe a dozen people. Maybe I'm a little bit more kind-hearted and merciful than I thought. But the point remains, like, if if all you are is a vapid, shallow spender who doesn't actually see any potential in a future with this individual, you're wasting your time and his. And you're not a good person because you're using him for his credit card. Period. And end of. Uh, D-Day Direwolf, who's been a member for 11 months. Hey, D-Day, what's going on? Just dropping by to say hi. Hello, D-Day. Brian McCann for 6 has been a member for 6 months. What's going on? Where you been? Dude, real life has absolutely kicked me in the teeth. Um, for real. It's just I don't think I'll derail the stream just yet with any of that. I'll probably do I'll probably just do a member stream and talk about it at some point, maybe this weekend or something. But not, um, you know, It's kind of one of those things where every 2 steps forward, you took like 7 steps back and you had to deal with the situations as they arose and as they came. And some of them were more successful than others, and some of them just continued to beat the ever loving bejesus out of you. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? And I'm here now. So we'll get to chitty chat. Hold on, I saw this. Where did it go? Da-da-da-da-da-da. Let me see. Oh no. I know I saw it. I know I'm not crazy. Maybe I am crazy. Oh, did he delete it maybe? No. It should be there. Hold on. I'll find it. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. It's gone. Okay. So, on Livian, hello. She took speed dating to a new level. Dude, you have no idea. Like, this chick, mm-mm. She was the definition of, like, a fair weather fook. A fair weather fook. Like, the second that she was not the center of attention, she left. And she's got dudes who, like, worship the ground she walks on, doesn't give those guys the time of day. I'm just, nope. Here it is. On Livian, hubby dies. Lady G. How dare you? Yeah, no, like, legitimately, if I'm not gonna he's not allowed. He is not allowed. He's well aware of this. He is not allowed because then I have to deal with all this modern day crap, and I am not doing it. I was told that I was being cruel and not a real friend because a real friend wouldn't say that. But, like, legitimately, I don't know what she wanted me to say because there's very few people in this world that I'm willing to die for. And I just I do not I don't understand why these women who don't do anything to improve themselves, they're not learning new recipes, they're not learning new cleaning hacks or how to clean properly or how to sanitize or how to swat, like, just basic, like, how to do laundry or how to um do dishes, like that there are dishes that can't go in the dishwasher. You have to hand wash them. There are some dishes like a cast iron skillet that if you ever touch a any form of steel wool to that, I'm pretty sure all of my ancestors will come back to life and beat the living snot out of you with that cast iron skillet. Like, it's just stuff you don't do. And so, the way that I had met this girl was she was a friend of a friend, and so we hung out or whatever, but she was just constantly going through like hookups and oh, I met a guy, and then, 4 or 5 weeks later, we broke up because he doesn't have time for me. He won't make time for me. I'm not his priority, and I'm not going to be number 2 in my man's life. And it's like, okay, well, it's only 5 weeks. You guys haven't been able to, like, set any kind of rhythm, and, like, what did you even bring to the relationship? Because last I checked, he's driving you everywhere, he's paying for everything, you're using his credit card to go shopping, like, you're taking friends out on his credit card or on his debit card, whatever the case may be. It's his dime that's paying for it. It's his gas, it's his car, it's the wear and tear on his vehicle. Like, why don't you learn how to change a tire or change the oil? Like, it's not hard. Do you even, like, I would have been able to have been knocked over with a feather if she had any idea what, um gosh, I don't even know what a piston was. Like, if she even used the word piston correctly, you would have been able to knock me over with a feather. Just no general knowledge existed within this individual's body outside of the fact that she's hot, she knows it, and she uses it. I like, that's legitimately what it is. And women like that, they don't want honesty. Because why do they need a personality? They're hot. That is their personality. That is their everything. And I mean, Like, when you read about, like, the epic poems or, the romances, like, you could read about Romeo and Juliet, which I know is a tragedy, and it's not real. I know all that, but, like, men created all of these things, and you read some of these, like, this poetry or these letters from the Crusades or from World War One or World War II, even more like Vietnam, Korean War, like, just you read what some of these men write, and, like, literally the thing that kept so many of them going was their girl. They were like, "I just can't wait to see you get," like, the only thing, like, the only thing that keeps me going is knowing that I'll be home in such and such time, and I'll get to see your face. Like, that's incredible. But you have feminists today and intersectionalist feminazis who are like, "Oh my gosh, that's so toxic, such toxic masculinity. Like, this is so awful. Why would you want someone like that?" And you're just like, what is wrong with you?" And, like, these women were back home, not all of them, some of them got jodied. Not all of you know what that means, but I'm sure you can, use general knowledge, common sense to fill in what that means. These women are back home, and they're trying to make sure that he has something to come back to. They're trying to make sure that he's when he comes home, he's, you know, welcomed. And, like, they dealt with so much crap when they came back. It's like it's not talked about enough what vets, especially back then, went through, had to go through after they came home even. It's just insane on the face of it. But, women most affected or whatever, feminists most effective apparently. Um, it's just crazy. But yeah, this chick who solid 10, like, I'll be honest with you, look-wise, she was a solid 10. She's maybe like an 8.5 without makeup, but solid 10. And she just she thought that was enough. Like, she didn't think she needed any other qualities. Um, which is just confusing to me because, I mean, not everybody can be beautiful on the outside or handsome on the outside, but by God, you can make yourself someone incredible on the inside. Um, so why you wouldn't, especially when it's solely within your power to improve yourself, why you wouldn't do that is beyond me. And why you continue to, like, believe articles that say crap like this about how you want relatability and to see yourself reflected in what you're watching or reading or doing, um, is a load of horse crap, and you should really stop listening to these people. This is one of the worst written articles ever, and you can tell this has got to be a Gen Zer or a millennial writing this trash. Because, my God, it's so self aggrandizing and just uppity. Like, it's just uppity. So stupid. Um, but when I think about it, there's so few there are so few women in the world who are worth dying for on a large scale. Like, how can I put this? Cleopatra managed to decimate not one, not two, but three empires. Three. Say what you will. Yes, it's awful. I mean, the Egyptians, the Romans, and the Greeks were never the same again. But I am telling you right now, I have yet to meet a modern day Cleopatra. I do not know one woman that three empires would be willing to sacrifice themselves for. None. Zero. Zilch. Not one. I don't. I you could give me 1,000 years and I would not come up with one. So many women think that they are like Helen of Troy or Cleopatra or Queen Elizabeth I, right? And what's funny is most of those women who are worth dying for, they've already found their man. They're happy, they're content, they're not out drooling over randos at a bar. You know what I mean? And so For these for so many women, some of them are busted, like, inside and outside. Um, they're just they're nothing to really look at on the outside, but they're even more hideous on the inside, but think that they are, like, they crap golden eggs or some crap. I mean, it's just wild how these women don't think there's anything wrong with them, that just by existing, they are entitled to being worshipped. It's insane. And that mentality has festered into escapism within escapism for at least the last decade. For at least the last decade. And I don't know. I can't imagine having that level of entitlement. Everybody has some level of entitlement, but to sit there and think that you don't owe anybody anything, but the world owes you whatever you demand of it, man, reality is going to hit you hard. In the same way, we may be engaging in pandemic related recreation in order to look for parallels within our own lives. This is why I hate psychologists. They think they're smarter than they actually are. No, not really. I think what someone if you know what I would have watched? I would have watched a show about a pandemic where the people are like, "Hey, we're not actually dying. It's straight fear-mongering. Let's go and remove the current communist or king or whatever it is. Um let's unseat him from power and, breathe a little bit of freedom back into the room." But because that's not something that actually happened, but I would love to see that on the screen. That would be my escapism right there. Like, huh, what I wish had happened would have been someone being like, boo skoo doo, you're out. Not even like, just not even violently, just show up and be like, hey, you're fired. Sorry, I laughed so hard. I'm joking. It's not even that funny of a joke. I'm laughing more at the fact that I choked on my own laugh. Oh my gosh. Um, Here we go, more entitlement. It's one of those things where you see your reflection in what you're watching. No, not really. I don't care. I don't I want ninjas to behave like ninjas. I want assassins to do the assassination attempt stuff. I want monarchs to do monarch things. Um, if you're a knight in shining armor, act like one. Don't sit next to your horse and cry. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care about your problems. I have my own. I want to watch you go kill monsters and be happy about it, or at least effective at it. You know what I mean? Like, if a character is going to have a problem, it should drive the plot forward. If it's just going to be filler and self insertion and projection, I don't want that. I don't want that at all in anything. However strange it seems to watch characters struggle through devastating events, seeing similar conditions play out fictionally can actually be cathartic. No, like not really. Not unless their outcome is better and way less boring. Like that's the whole idea. Like these people are it's so funny to me that they call themselves like liberal or the liberal arts because they're so restrained in their imagination. It's unfreaking believable. They're so confined. You'd swear that they all come out of the same box, and they really all do. Oof, it bothers me. Um, Seeing similar circumstances play out on screen or on the page can feel like being seen. Confirmation that somebody gets us, says Drea. Oh, look, another woman, a licensed clinical psychologist. You know what's wrong with the world? You guys remember those baby books where it's like newborn, like uh ages 0 to they're the parenting books, and it's like how to handle your toddler, how to handle your 5-year-old, like, parenting wins or parenting book for um parenting psychology hacks for ages 0 to 5 or whatever. And you're like, you read it and it's like, validate them, let them know, if they start to throw a temper, tell them that their feelings are valid and that you understand where they're coming from. No, no, don't cave. Like, don't negotiate with terrorists. Put them in timeout or bust them. Don't abuse them. There's a difference. Let them know that they're not in charge. And like, they'll realize that, hey, I can't throw a fit to get my way every single time. It's utterly just idiotic. Just unbelievable. But yep, here we go. We have another woman who's a licensed clinical psychologist, and she's a director at a center in the University of California, Los Angeles. Of course, she's at UCLA. Of course she is. I told you, they all come out of the same box. Every single one of them. The parasocial or one-sided relationships we form with fictional characters and celebrities help affirm our real-life experiences. What? Listen, there's a difference between being a fan of someone's work and thinking you're in some type of relationship with them. That's not healthy. At all. Those celebrities don't even know who you are. The fictional characters in books definitely don't know who you are. If you want to do your own, like, fanfic head fantasy thing, I mean, like, write your stories or whatever, yo, but to think that you are actually in some type of relationship, that is how psychopaths behave. Like, imagine I somebody give me a name of somebody famous, I don't know. Okay, Ryan Reynolds. I have no idea if anything bad, like, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are married. I remember how many people, like, wept when Ryan Reynolds got married to Blake, and they were like, "Well, it's not like they have kids." And then they had their first daughter. "Well, it's just 1, just 2." Like, they kept trying to like they could somehow replace Blake in his life. Like, those people are psychotic. Or just recently, what's his face who played Captain America? Chris Evans. He just got married. And I remember all the headlines were like, "Oh, like, so many so many women are heartbroken now because of this, and it's devastating to see." And he married someone so much younger. Okay, well, they're both consenting adults. They're obviously in love or they wouldn't have gotten married, especially not in Hollywood. Like, this is unhealthy. It's unhealthy. You don't have a relationship with a celebrity, like, that you've never met. I'm just saying. You There is nothing there. And the more you feed into that delusion, the more unhealthy it becomes and the more psychotic you're going to get. Because the second that you see someone that you're going to consider a threat, you're going to snap. Like, this is basic psychology. I don't know why this lady is a director of anything, let alone a licensed psychologist. But the fact that you're talking about affirming real life experiences through imaginary relationships with someone who doesn't even know you exist, that's not healthy. This is why I hate psychologists. And like, I hate them. There's good ones out there, but they are so few and far between. Psychiatrists are even worse. Don't get me started. But it's just insane. Like, these are shippers. That's who these people are. These are the chronic shippers. And the second you challenge that yes, CT 2005, yes, Rayloads. I don't know who Bellards and Bellakovs are, but I'm sure they are in there as well. Like, these are the Raylos. They're so worried about affirming their feelings, their disingenuous feelings, that fake relationships, fictional characters, like That's like me saying I have a relationship with Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, or freaking my brain stopped again. Just like you don't have a relationship with them. Just like, oh, Faramir is so in love with me because I'm just like Eowyn. Like, no, dog. Those are fictional characters in a book. They can't even know you exist because they're not real. They aren't real. There's nothing wrong with, like, especially if it's a drama or a romance or whatever. If you're cheering for two characters to get together, there's nothing wrong with that. But to let it utterly destroy either your opinion of the book or the integrity of the, like, however, because it's the author's decision which way to go. And to let that deteriorate into something else is just freaking unhealthy. Okay, what is this? Bellards are Edward and Bella Shepherds. Bella Cobbs are Jacob and Bella Shepherds. Are Bellards, like, isn't that a British word for idiot? I need a Brit. Isn't that what a Bellard? I thought a Bellard was an idiot. Somebody help me. Or is that Bell? That's Belen. Yeah. Yeah. Matthias, that's Belen. They need to come up with a better Bellards. I don't know who that is. I don't know who I don't know who those characters are. I'm assuming since you said shippers, they are characters, but I don't I don't know who they are. Um yeah. I got thank you for all the bellins. Oh, it means okay. Thank you, Kino. My bad. Um but yeah, it's insane. They talk about, like, this article is so the lack of self-awareness would be funny if it wasn't so tragic. Like, there's pandemic induced entertainment everywhere, and it's a phenomenon that's seeping through the culture. Like, no, not really. And then we don't really need it. But also in the same breath, it's the BBC who is going to, like, in the same, like, bet you the next article that this individual wrote was something along the lines of how intersectionalism or representation or diversity or whatever it may be is crucial to entertainment. Because if there's not representation, then people can't see themselves on the screen, they can't get it, they can't relate. These people are idiots. Ugh, it just bothers me so much. Oh yeah, Twilight. Yeah, I remember the t-shirts, Team Edward and Team Jacob. Yeah, it's all coming back now. Consider yourself lucky. I did promise Miss Martin Muses that I would watch Twilight, like, live stream it, like, live stream my reaction. You guys can follow along with me. I don't know when we're gonna do that, but I did promise her that I would do that. I don't want to. I don't want to. I have no desire to see those films. I don't even know if I can call them films. Despite the fictional nature of those stories, they can be validating for us. These people are a joke. Look at this trash. It's freaking masks that make a really, like, this looks like a horror shot, honestly. It's like after the villain or whatever rips the beating heart out of your chest, cuts it in half, and then sews it back together with half of another victim's heart. That's kind of what it looks like. In 2020, pandemic was tightening its grip in March of 2020. And the thriller Contagion started trending. Well, yeah, because people were scared and they were wondering what it might look like. And it didn't look anything like Contagion, I promise you that. This is basically just talking about how The same thing that's already been said, similar conditions are playing out on the screen in front of us. As our altered reality drags on until a nebulous end, we also lack a template for how to live day to day. No, no, no. Many people thrived during the pandemic. If you were unable to thrive, it means you don't know how to live outside the system. Look, so with no roadmap for living through and processing a unique catastrophe, entertainment could help guide us. Understand what this person just said. They are depending on Hollywood to be a guiding light through a catastrophe. Let that sink in. That is freaking insane. I'm floored that this person thought that this was a good article to write. I, uh, mm-mm. Learning by example is naturally human. Hollywood is not an example. They are so far removed from normal human beings. It, like, I don't even have a comparison. I don't even have a comparison. Hollywood is not anywhere close to being reflective of real life, especially not today. I just, it's insane. Yeah, exactly. No leaf clover. That's why we have the Bible, not Hollyweird. In our brain, mirror neurons fire both when we perform a physical action or experience an emotion and observe another person experiencing those same actions and emotions. Uh, I don't know who wrote this, but that is such a simplistic statement and it cuts out all like oh context. It's not true. When we see someone we love suffering, mirror neurons are responsible for the pain we feel in response. That's what empathy is. No, it's not. Mirror neurons, not empathy. These people are stupid. I oh, I swear to God. Like I'm so glad when I was reading this, they didn't say that that's what causes us to yawn cuz I would have thrown a computer like it's like they took the Cliffs notes out of Psych 101 from a college course and just rolled with the highlights. I just wow. That's not how that works at all. In fact, here's a fun psychological fact for you. People who have gone through something like losing a loved one or bankruptcy or loss of a home, loss of a job, take your pick. Someone that goes if another person goes through that exact same almost exact same scenario beat for beat, people who went through that are actually less likely to be empathetic. They're more likely to be sympathetic to your plight, maybe, but all in all, what they're actually gonna try to do, one of 3 things. 1, they're gonna be like, "Well, I had to go through it, so and figure it out, so they're gonna have to go through it and figure it out themselves too." 2, they're gonna actually legitimately help you. They're gonna be like, "Hey, been there, done that, went through this struggle session." Can't believe I just used that. But I went through this crap too. I know how to get out of it. You don't need to go through all this crap. It's not worth it. Like, we'll go around it. And I'll show you the why and the how of it. So someone who can like, guide you through that stuff. And then there's the third one where they're still they have let that situation destroy them and they'll drag that other person down with them. Like that is generally what happens. Very few people are number 2. Very few people, especially women, because women are like, "Oh, you're pretty, but just not as pretty as me. Oh, I want you to be successful, just not as successful as me. I want you to find a good husband, just not as good of a husband as me. I want you to have a good job, or I want you to, get the pit like whatever me. I want you to have money, just not more than me." People in general, but mostly petty A bitches, um, they will be happy with you. They'll be happy for you right up until the point that you surpass them, and then they hate your guts. So, uh, don't believe anything that was in that paragraph right there because it's freaking insane. Oh, Matthias, you make a great point. Even if the mirror neuron thing is 100% correct, it still asserts that you have to look like that person in order to feel that empathy. Exactly. Exactly. It's all so superficial. It's BS. I hate every second of it. Ugh. Research. Oh, yeah, we gotta throw the research word in there. Also shows that exposure to the macabre can help us regulate and process our emotions and even help us bounce back. Also not true. That study was debunked. Uh, People who consider themselves fans of horror films showed greater resilience during the pandemic than fans of other genres. I don't know how to put this. It is not the exposure to the macabre that helps you regulate and process your emotions. Horror fans are already horror fans. Does that make sense? Like, if you're not a horror fan, you're not going to watch horror. And if you do watch horror, it's not going to help you watch more horror shows, whether they be slashers, thrillers, jump scares, whatever the case may be. You already have to be that type of person to watch that kind of stuff. Like most people who see different, I can't even believe I'm going to say genres of horror, but I am. Most people, most they'll look at it and they'll be disgusted by it. They'll walk out. Be like, "No, I can't handle this." Like most often they'll only stay if it's like peer pressure. Be like, "Oh, you're such a baby. Are you scared? Are you scared?" Fans of horror films already have that, I don't want to say deadened, but for lack of a better word, they already have that deadened uh response to stuff like that. People who aren't so much into that, maybe they like documentaries on cooking or whatever. No amount of Saw or Hostel or whatever you want to call it is going to turn them into somebody that they aren't. They're going to reject it. They're going to refuse it. They're going to hate it. And it's not going to help them in any way, shape, or form at all. So this crap right here is trying to say that if you watch whatever Hollywood is pumping out, it can help you become more resilient to real world scenarios. Now, we did talk about how Star Trek can help with battling depression, the original and TNG and stuff like that, not modern day Star Trek. Um, that is because it's a hopeful it's a hopeful message. It's about overcoming, it's about the human spirit, it's about tackling the last frontier, the final frontier, right? And and it's about finding a way, which is a great message. It's a great story, and it's beautiful escapism that will sort of be able to help you. Sitting down and watching slashers for 3 weeks is not going to suddenly make you okay with real blood, with real gore, with a real crisis situation. I promise. Um I know plenty of horror fans who faint at the sight of their own blood. So this in the I like The Walking Dead can help reinforce resilience and self-efficacy in viewers. Yeah, it can maybe help reinforce it, but it's not gonna put it in to someone's character if it's not there. Like, you have to actually go through real world experiences to gain knowledge and to gain resilience and self-sufficiency and self-efficacy. Is you it it's This is not the Matrix. You can't download stuff from the TV into your brain and just know how to do things. It's insane. And again, you're lying about the agenda behind this. You're trying to sell your product. You're attempting to sell your product, and you're lying about the benefits that it may or may not contain in the hopes of maybe casting a wider net. You just look ridiculous and like a liar because that's what you are. A sign of acceptance. I accept that this article is crap. It's well known that in uncertain times, taking control of a small task or activity can give us back agency. Yes, that's why, like, when Pearl Harbor happened, uh, women were bringing bandages because they couldn't dress wounds. They didn't know what to do, but they knew that that nurses were gonna need bandages. So they brought bandages. Like, that's all they could do. That they didn't know what else to do. They washed the dishes because the dishes had to get done. Like, that's just, again, something that's very common, but they're trying to make it seem like it's so profound. But there are all kinds of pursuits unrelated to the pandemic, baking or crafting, for instance. Again, yeah. These hobbies make sense to engage in to find a sense of control. Start with raw materials, follow the directions as stated, and reach your desired outcome. Remember, they needed a roadmap. Where'd that go? Um, yeah, no roadmap. So remember, these people need a roadmap, and Hollywood is their roadmap. And so now they need, Betty Crocker's boxed cake so they can follow the instructions and feel like they have agency back because they don't know how to not be told how to do something. The author of this article does not realize what they are admitting to. They need to be told what to do and how to think and how to behave. Watching horror will help you be more resilient because this is like the Matrix where you can download it from the TV. If you follow this sewing pattern or bake this boxed cake, you're going to get that sense of agency back. No, what this is saying about this author is that they have no idea how to survive on their own. They need to be given instruction for the most basic of tasks. That is what this whole article boils down to. They do not know how to exist outside of a system. They can't set one up. And if they do not have literally step by step directions or instructions as stated, and then reach the predetermined, it says desired outcome, but that's not what it is. It's someone else's predetermined outcome. That's what this whole article has boiled down to. There is no agency or self-reliance or individuality within this person. They need, I am so sorry, excuse me. They need to be given instructions for everything, which is why they have no problem. That's why they love communism. Because Every moment of their day is plotted out. And if they ever step out of line of the system, they get pushed back in or they get taken out. Either or. You know what I mean? But it's all fine to them because it's not going to affect them. They're going to live a great life under socialism or so like I don't know, democratic socialism. It's just a joke. So, I won't read the bottom. Um but essentially they're like humans are the only creatures that have existential crises. Why do we do that? Well, I don't know, probably because we've evolved past the basic survival of hunt, kill, eat, sleep. Like people don't realize that for a long time advancements weren't made because your whole goal was to eat and then find a place to sleep where you weren't going to die. Like these people are real. They work for the BBC, or at least they did. They contributed to the BBC. And it's just, oh gosh, we're going to look back at this time in history and laugh so hard. So this is from February of 2021. Allie, I don't know where you are. I don't know what you're doing these days. But you need to understand that your inability to function without being told what to do for the entirety of your life does not mean that that is how other adults function. And it's really that simple. But that's what it boils down to. That those kind of people are who's in charge of our entertainment today. They're in charge of the mainstream, not necessarily the indie, but they're trying to suffocate it out as much as possible. But they're the ones writing the news articles. They're the ones, you know, film, music, novels, comic books. Did I say music? Music. Whatever, dance. Shoot, just art in general, like painting, sculptures, whatever the outlet might be. It's seeping into everything because these people cannot function without it. And Allie is a prime example of that. And she's like, well, maybe we don't need the pandemic infused in everything. Yet, I guarantee you, she probably thinks that, you know, race and gender swapping Robin Hood is a great idea. It's so empowering. It's just insane on the face of it. So, guys, that kind of tells you that article is 2 years old, almost 3. And we're still seeing the same stuff. We've been seeing the same stuff. This is what these people genuinely believe. They believe you need a roadmap and that roadmap should be Hollywood and that you have to look like the characters to be able to relate to those characters. And that it's allegory, not applicability. And that apparently to be empathetic or, you know, have what's known as basic human emotion and response is because of mirror neurons. And you have to have those activated. And it's just insane. Like, my favorite one is that if you go watch a bunch of horror films, you're going to be able to handle difficult situations better. Like, that, again, that's not true. You can't download courage or resilience from a horror movie. You have to actually go through the experience. It has to actually occur, happen to you. That's why that's why you have experience. Like, my grandpa is in his 90s He can fix anything. That's not hereditary. He learned that. I can't just be like, "Oh yeah, my grandpa, he's in his 90s, he can fix anything." I I I watched him do some stuff, and he told me about some of the stuff he went through, and so that actually happened to me. Those are actually my experiences, not his. That's stupid. Like I can't even that coming out of my mouth is just idiotic. Now, some people like my grandpa are really good storytellers. They can pull you in and they can make you feel like you're, going through like you're in that moment, but that didn't actually happen to you. And the fact that they're encouraging shippers and shipping mentality tells you everything you need to know about those psychologists and the BBC in general. Just wow. I I'm telling you right now. I know dudes who love slasher films. They're big old buff Marines. They hate needles. Like some of them would legit close their eyes and like tense when we would have to go get shots. It's just insane. So that's what you're up against. That's what's been permeating our escapism for the better part of a decade, if not longer now. But they don't have to hide it anymore. They are they're not afraid of just speaking openly. I mean, that doesn't bother them not one little bit about what they really believe or what they really see, or admitting without realizing that they need instruction in their life. Talk about internalized misogyny. Like, you are legitimately admitting that you can't exist outside of an already a pre-constructed system. People, it floors me. And the fact that some of these guys are licensed psychologists, just wow. An absolute donkey shit. Wow. So there you go, guys. That's kind of uh where we're at. We've been live for almost an hour 45. You guys know I don't really to go over that. So um thank you for the members who dropped it in and um dropped in their chats, and thank you for the whole chat. Let me check the Oh, EJ Paladin donated $3 over on the Streamlabs side and says, "It's my birthday today, the 24th. Just wanted to share some love." Well, thank you, EJ Paladin, for the $3 and happy birthday. I hope it's a great one. So October 24th, happy birthday. I don't know how old you are, but I hope that you enjoy it and you get a little bit spoiled. And congratulations on making it around the sun one more time. I hope there are many more to come. On Livy and me, who's been in and out of hospital since I was 13. US Marines don't got nothing on me. We'll see. But EJ Paladin, so happy birthday to you. And guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. I really do. Let me know what you think about all of this. Am I way off the mark? Is escapism fine? You know, should reality be allowed to seep into escapism? And do we need to see ourselves on screen in order to really feel validated? I think I made it pretty clear where I stand. Just saying. But with that being said, thank you everybody for stopping by. I appreciate every single one of you so much. Love you to pieces. God bless, Godspeed, and good night.